This is ABC15 Mornings.
The road to herd immunity.
Obviously, there is an element of vaccine hesitancy or concern that we need to address.
The amount of vaccines, not a concern, rather the amount of hesitant Americans.
Failing to be financially responsible.
Don't put it in your piggy bank under your bed or under your mattress. Put it into a savings account.
Too many adults and kids do not understand how to manage money.
You better start saving more for groceries.
It's totally ridiculous, $15 for a steak.
Why food prices are starting to skyrocket.
Bible chasing Booker. Can he get it off? There it is. Wow.
Each week, it's just getting more fun. It's another victory for our Phoenix Suns.
And are you ready for the red carpet?
We're kind of tired of always black, always red, always white.
Why we could see so much color at the Academy Awards. Getting closer to that weekend, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think with all the color that we've been talking about, Oscar's so funny and so great. I believe it's going to make us feel a lot more hopeful, too. Don't you?
Oh, yeah, definitely a time for optimism. And he's got some great fashion tips and trends for us. Might even have me removing an article.
Ooh, bunch of brown cow. No,
we're talking not pants, not believe me. Don't worry, don't panic, everyone. Not pants. We're keeping those on. That's a little tease.
Let's clean things up a little bit, shall we?
Keep it G-rated. It's not that kind of show, Kaylee.
I know it's not. Thank goodness. All right, Iris, can you save us by talking about the weather?
This talk here a little bit, guys. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, let's talk about that most accurate forecast, because today we've got some cooler air moving in, and if you like the cooler 80s, well, today is your day. Winds also not going to be as strong as they were yesterday, but we are still dealing with a fire threat in parts of Arizona, and believe it or not, we've got a chance for some showers in northern Arizona today. Maybe a stray sprinkle here in the valley, but it's not looking too good for us here in the Phoenix area. Now, this morning, as you step outside, we've got mostly clear conditions, a few high clouds out there, temperatures in the 50s to 60s. Officially, it's 63 at Phoenix Sky Harbor, and today a very gradual warm up. We'll be climbing into the 70s by around mid-morning, and then we'll stay in the 70s through lunchtime before a high today of 82 degrees. Breezes between about 5 and 15 miles an hour, occasional gusts near 20 miles an hour this afternoon. Again, lighter than yesterday. We'll talk more about those rain chances in that full forecast.
Okay, Iris, thank you. Today, another state-run vaccination site does open, and this one is at West World of Scottsdale. The indoor site will be open each day from 7 to 5, and a reminder, tomorrow is the final day of operations at State Farm Stadium. Vaccinations will move indoors to Gila River Arena.
The U.S. has hit the 200 million mark for vaccines distributed. More than a quarter of Americans are fully vaccinated. However, the CDC says fewer people are rolling up their sleeves. The 7-day average count of people getting their first shot has dropped off. The vaccine isn't a guarantee you won't get the virus. However, it does dramatically lessen your chances. A new study by Rockefeller University shows the risk is extremely low for fully vaccinated people to get the virus. Only 2 people out of 417 in a recent study became infected. Researchers say COVID variants were behind both cases.
Well, the state of education in focus this week. This is days after the governor announced schools are no longer required to have masks. Educators quickly responding. The majority of schools keeping with mask mandates. Some are holding special meetings to talk about it. And this is where we bring in our Carla Navarrete. Carla, Chandler Unified meeting last night. Let's talk about what students need to know today, and parents too.
Yeah, the good news for some parents is that masks are still going to be required in the Chandler Unified School District, but there are going to be some modifications done to that policy. Now, as you know, Chandler Unified is the second largest public school district in the state. That special meeting that they held last night stating that starting next week and lasting until the end of the school year, masks need to be worn inside but not outside. Face coverings do not need to be worn for outside gym class or for the elementary school kids during outside recess. Now, as for summer school, which begins in June, masks will be optional inside for both students and staff. Now, I spoke with a Chandler teacher who tells me the governor's executive order earlier this week to rescind masks is once again putting these big decisions on each individual district and, in her opinion, pinning one district against another. Take a listen.
But the numbers are still not what they were way back in, I think it was September. Like, our cases have not dropped. They've dropped significantly, but they're not as low as they've ever been. To take away masks just feels like, again, like it's very premature.
And speaking of those numbers, COVID numbers, the Chandler Governing Board will allow the superintendent to make amendments and adjustments based on the case numbers that they see over the next couple of weeks. For now, reporting live in Phoenix, I'm Carla Navarrete, ABC 15 Arizona.
All right, Carla, thank you for that update. We do appreciate that. Another school dropping its mask mandate, the East Valley Institute of Technology. The board voting 5-4 to allow students and faculty to make face coverings an option. We do have a growing list of district decisions when it does come to these face coverings, and you can find them right now posted at abc15.com.
At 6:05 today, the city of Tempe is holding a discussion geared towards building community trust with law enforcement. City leaders are hoping to gauge how people feel about the department using trust scores ahead of Police Week, where they hope to demonstrate their commitment to that trust through upcoming virtual sessions. At the federal level, Democrats are pushing to get the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act passed by the anniversary of his death, which is May 25th. It passed in the House already. Right now, a key sticking point in the Senate remains qualified immunity, which would protect police officers from lawsuits.
Governor Ducey wants President Joe Biden to declare a national emergency at the border. This week, the governor deployed the National Guard and issued his own emergency declaration amid the increase in migrants crossing the border. The National Guard will be doing things like helping with medical operations at detention centers. And they will also be analyzing satellite imagery for current smuggling trends. 250 National Guard members will be at the border, and Arizona Senators Mark Kelly and Kyrsten Sinema, they're getting in on this too, asking the president to reimburse money for those troops. Both Democratic senators expressing support for Governor Ducey's emergency declaration. In fact, they wrote a letter to the president. In it, they say, quote, "We stand ready to work with you to support our border communities, secure the border, prevent the spread of COVID-19, and treat all migrants and unaccompanied children fairly and humanely."
It is Earth Day and happening right now. President Joe Biden is holding a climate summit with 40 world leaders. This is a live look right now. This is Russian President Vladimir Putin there addressing the summit. The president is expected to announce a new target for reducing greenhouse gas pollution. He wants to achieve a 50 to 52% reduction from the levels we saw in 2005 by the year 2030. One thing we've learned over the past year is that millions of us live paycheck to paycheck. But as we come out of this pandemic, how much did we learn about money management? ABC 15's Mark Thompson is joining us live this morning. And Mark, financial literacy, it's something that isn't really taught to a lot of people, so it's not really our fault in some ways.
Yeah, Nick, but it's such an important issue out there. And in fact, today is National Teach Your Children to Save Day. And unfortunately, many of us, we don't learn about being responsible for our finances in school or even at home. And then, especially for some younger adults, it gets too far out of control and we get debt before we even realize it. But you may have heard the stories before, or you may have even experienced it yourself. You get that first credit card, maybe it's just right out of college, and then you start spending money, but you really don't understand what interest rates are all about. And then immediately that debt starts to build up, and it can take years to get out of debt. We spoke with an expert who says that kids need to understand how finances work at a young age.
A 12-year-old child that is receiving a $20 a month allowance. So take that $20, put 10 of it away into your savings account. Don't put it in your piggy bank under your bed or under your mattress, but put it into a savings account.
That was Paris Davis, who has been in the banking industry for nearly 40 years. She says that healthy financial habits, they start at home with children. She says that parents, they need to teach children and teens how to spend, then save, and also allocate money. She also says too many adults, they need to learn as well. She also attributes some of the debt problems that we're seeing to technology and even direct deposit.
Now with the day of automation, everybody gets direct deposits into their checking accounts. We swipe that debit card, that money's coming in and out so quickly. And so really make certain that you take the time to know what we were taught as youngsters, right? Your deposits, your withdrawals, your ins, your outs, your subtractions, your additions, and know how much I have coming in, because we all pretty much know what we have coming in on a monthly basis.
Now, this one's really important. Parents, whether you know it or not, you are always teaching your children about money management, because kids, they pick up on everything that you're doing, whether you plan your shopping or not. Do you put money into savings or do you spend irresponsibly? Kids can definitely see those habits in adults. Also, with so many people, both kids and adults, spending a lot of time on their phones nowadays, financial experts say it may be a good idea to download some financial apps because that could help you save some money down the road. Reporting live this morning, Mark Thompson, ABC 15, Arizona.
All right, some great advice there, Mark. Appreciate it. Up next here, ABC 15 Mornings. Will a mini amusement park be coming to the East Valley? Town leaders are hopeful, but some residents are fighting this idea.
Plus, the rides are up and running again, and out-of-state visitors are welcome. One California theme park ready to make a splash. 6:13 today, prosecutors will announce more charges against the suspect in a mass shooting inside a Boulder, Colorado grocery store. The district attorney there will file 43 additional charges today in connection to the March 22nd shooting. Later today, funeral services will be held for the young black man shot and killed by police in Minnesota. Dante Wright died April 11th after being shot during a traffic stop. Former police officer Kim Potter claims she meant to grab her taser and mistakenly grabbed her gun. She faces a charge of second-degree manslaughter in this case and is scheduled for a court appearance later today. Well, today the House of Representatives will vote on a proposal to make Washington, D.C. the 51st state. Supporters say statehood is a representation issue. Washington, D.C. has a population of more than 700,000, which is more than Wyoming and Vermont, but has no voting representation in Congress. Statehood would create 2 Senate seats and a rep in the House.
ABC 15 Desert Drive Time, sponsored by Accident Law Group.
Let's get you out there on that morning ride on this Thursday. This is the I-17 southbound at 19th Avenue. We've seen a little bit of slowing, pretty typical this time of day, especially on a Thursday. No major crashes or delays to avoid. So some good news there, Iris.
Let's talk about that most accurate forecast, because as you're driving into work, we've got cool conditions and lighter winds too. Not like what we were dealing with yesterday when we were talking gusty winds across the state of Arizona. Those winds essentially between about 5 and 10 miles an hour at this point. Now, we will still get some breezes today, but they're not going to be as strong as they were yesterday. As this storm system moves into our state, those winds pick up a little bit, but again, not as strong as when that storm was still approaching from the west. So today, breezy this afternoon. I think valley wind gusts peak near 20 to maybe 25 miles an hour. All in all, not too strong, but you may notice them a little bit. But in southeast Arizona, we will still have those windy conditions, and we're talking gusts still near 40 miles an hour this afternoon. So those stronger winds and still relatively dry conditions across that southeast pocket of our state, still increasing that fire danger. So we're not quite done with red flag warnings or fire weather warnings. They're in place for areas across southeast Pinal County and essentially from about Tucson to the east, or just east of Tucson, I should say, to that New Mexico border and to the Mexico border too. The rest of the state, no fire weather alerts, but you got to remember that we're still under drought and we're still deep in drought. So there's a lot of fuels available. So even with lighter winds in the forecast and a little bit more moisture in the air, you still got to use caution, as we know wildfires can get started, right, at any point. Now, as we look at the moisture, and speaking of moisture, there's going to be enough, believe it or not, to pop up a few showers across northern Arizona as we go through today. Right now, Desert Doppler radar showing you nothing but clear to mostly clear conditions. But as we head into this afternoon, you're going to see some green popping up on Futurecast. We've got a chance as this storm system moves through that we'll see a few showers in northern Arizona, maybe get a few rumbles of thunder. We're talking about a 40% chance for rain today in the Flagstaff area. For the valley, it's going to be mostly sunny and dry through the day today, but as we get into the overnight hours, we may manage to squeeze out a few raindrops or sprinkles overnight. Our chances not very promising, but there's about a 10% chance that I brought into that forecast for those overnight hours. And then tomorrow we're back to sunny and looking at dry conditions as we head through the weekend. Warmer weather too. So those changes, cooler today, highs in the 70s to 80s. We'll get some afternoon showers in northern Arizona, and then again tonight we may see a few sprinkles, but most of the Phoenix area looks to stay dry. As you're stepping outside, it's 63 degrees, a nice and cool start to the day. Temperatures will be into the 70s by 10 a.m., but we're going to stay in the 70s through lunchtime, 75 degrees by then, and then our high today only 82, which is more than 10 degrees cooler than it was yesterday, below the average too. 30-year average is 87. A few neighborhoods like Apache Junction, Cave Creek, Anthem, and Wickenburg only reaching the 70s today. Otherwise, highs right around 82 across the valley. And across Arizona, we'll reach the low 70s in Kingman and in Winslow, 50s to 60s from Flagstaff to Payson to Sedona. Still in the 80s tomorrow and breezy again. Then the 90s are in for this weekend. But check out this big change. We'll go from the 90s on Sunday down into the 70s Monday and Tuesday as we see another storm system that will bring a better chance for rain our way.
All right, Iris, thank you so much. 6:17. No matter what might be bringing you down this morning, we have a few ways that your mood can be picked up so you can have a good vibes only kind of morning, right? This is what is on our bulletin board today. First, these mental health experts say you could find ways to be grateful. It doesn't just mean show gratitude. It means spending some time and some effort to find things for which you are grateful. It could be actually being grateful for your feet hitting the ground and feel that possibly, and I know this sounds silly, but they say maybe it's for getting the flu. Why? Well, because you know it will actually go away within a week. I mean, that is complete optimism, but it means eventually you'll feel better. And how about this one? They say never, ever give up hope. You could try this the next time you or someone else is down in the dumps. See if you can identify their lack of hope. We just don't do well without hope. And sometimes we are the ones to kill it off because of how we think. Maybe think of hope as fuel, because the more we pump it in, the farther we can go in everyday life. And that is on today's bulletin board.
Good advice there, Kaylee. Hey, just 3 days ago until the Oscars, organizers are working to make sure everybody involved is staying safe with protocols and an in-house epidemiologist.
There is a very extensive testing protocol in place here.
So even if someone's not vaccinated, you are confident they can still be safe coming here?
Because of the testing protocols, and in addition to those very, very strong testing protocols, everything else that's going to happen, the ventilation, the very low density of people being together.
Yeah, and more good news, LA County now has one of the lowest infection rates in the entire country. The show will take place in 2 locations around town with guests at Union Station, and other live elements will be at the Dolby Theater in Hollywood. SeaWorld San Diego announcing out-of-state visitors can return to the park with proof of vaccinations. It's the first theme park in California to make the change. Look at the little baby hippo there.
I know, right? So cute. Well, a community in Gilbert is putting the brakes, or tapping them anyway, on that new go-kart track and adventure park we've talked about. There's a resident there filing an appeal for the Santan Adventure Park, and we've been reporting on this thing since it was first introduced back in 2017. Well, a few weeks ago, the town did give final approval to start building, but a lot of neighbors just aren't sold on this yet.
We're 250 feet away from 21 gasoline-powered go-karts, and we're being told we won't hear them. Does that make any sense at all? No.
Well, the town has 60 days to review the appeal and then vote to accept or deny it. Clip those coupons, because your groceries are getting more expensive. From beef to chicken to paper products, why do the prices keep going up?
Plus, a return of glamour after a year that saw the coronavirus pandemic shut down in-person events. The Oscars are back, and we're ready for those red carpet fashion trends and the eleganza.
Thanks for watching ABC15 Arizona, streaming 24/7 on Roku and these streaming devices.
Oh boy, those groceries. And boy, if you have been to the store lately or ordered them online for delivery, you know they're not cheap. The government reporting another jump in food prices for the first 3 months of the year.
Grocery prices jumped more than 0.5% in the month of March. According to the government's Consumer Price Index, we could see a 6% hike this year. That's after an almost 4% jump last year. So many of us noticing these prices going up.
It's totally ridiculous, $15 for a steak.
Last summer, basic strip steaks went up to $12 a pound. Chuck roast, up to $8 a pound. The USDA says bacon averaged $4.72 a pound back in April 2020. Now, these prices have climbed to $5.11 a pound. Bread averaged $2.44 a loaf last year. It's now at $2.66. So why are these prices going up? One reason, fuel. Shipping costs for those goods are more expensive. Prices to make packaging are up too. And in addition to that, meat processing plants are still dealing with worker shortages.
So we're going to look at the glass half full here. There's a bit of good news. Grocery store shelves, at least, are more stocked now than they have been in the past 14 months.
Peter Parker is heading to Disney+. Disney just signing a massive deal with Sony Pictures to bring Spider-Man and other Marvel films to its streaming service, as well as other Disney-owned platforms like Hulu. The agreement includes older films and new releases from 2022 to 2026. So we know what we'll be doing for the next 5 years. Yeah. Could have some plans. Hey, combining Reading Rainbow with Jeopardy! It looks like LeVar Burton will get a shot at guest hosting the iconic game show. And this is all thanks to his fans.
It's been fun to watch these guest hosts, right? I mean, it's been great. Hundreds of thousands of people signing a petition calling for the actor and former Reading Rainbow host to get the gig. Burton tweeted his thanks for fans' passionate support.
Yeah, anybody who was a child of the 80s, I mean, you know this is big. Other members of the final group of guest hosts for this season include ABC's George Stephanopoulos and Robin Roberts, who we will see in just about half an hour on GMA. I think they'll both do great. They're both so smart.
Oh, yeah.
So I think there's no pulling the fast one on either one of them.
And witty, you know?
Yes. Yeah, they're all great choices. These producers are doing a good job. Next at 6:30, it is an unprecedented move. Months after the election, the recounting of some 2 million ballots is set to begin. But what's the end goal with this latest audit?
And it's coming. Here it is. Who are you wearing? Ooh, that's hot. The Oscars are this Sunday, and all eyes are going to be on that red carpet fashion.